Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
You got Luke.
Luke, today we're having something that I know is going to be really controversial.
Extremely.
And we're going to get called out all over the place, but we're going to try and do it justice.
I think so because of our enormous fan base from the Netherlands.
Mostly them. We're looking at the greatest country for innovation. That's what I'm going with. So kind of like a breakdown of which countries had or have the best inventors, engineers, designers, whatever, as well as the most inventions under their belt.
So the caveat here, folks, so that you don't be like, oh, they were really American. This is where they were born. The best we could tell, because in some cases, like when I looked at a few of these, it said they were from America, but whenever you went to their Wikipedia page, it said born in Poland or something like that.
And Wikipedia is certainly the source of truth.
It is
the
source.
That's what you go with.
As best as possible,
right.
These have been identified as they were born in these countries. They may have done all of their work in other countries, but this is where they were born from.
Feel free to write in and yell at us for all of your favorite inventors that we left off the list. It won't hurt our feelings too much.
I purposely left some out because we already talked about them.
I kind of added them because we talked about them.
Oh, okay.
Because I felt like if it's great inventors and we already did them,
Yeah.
All right, so let me give you a couple of honorable mentions. So let's try and whittle this down to the top 10 countries. What do you say?
Eventually, I think that's the plan.
Okay, so here's what I'm going with as some honorable mentions. I had Sweden. Why? Just so that I could say Alfred Nobel.
Yeah.
And that was basically all I had there.
Okay.
I couldn't find anything real useful there. Poland. Did you have that up there on the list?
Poland you have that as an honorable mention?
Well, we can go ahead and hear what you said about Poland.
Poland is probably one of my top countries.
Wow. Okay, and how about Canada?
Canada's up there too for me.
Okay, well,
I can't believe you have those as
honorable
mentions.
So this is the amount of mentions I gave Poland. Marie Curie, because we did an episode there. What did Marie Curie do? Won 2 Nobel Prizes. That's why I put it ahead of Alfred Nobel.
I feel like you didn't do a lot of research this week.
Did radiation and X-rays.
I feel like you pulled a Luke this week.
I didn't. You should see the other pages of good countries that I have. Sorry, Sweden and Poland. Canada, on the other hand, has a little bit going on. But let me hear what you say about Poland.
So Poland, and I can't believe you left Poland off of this. So Stephanie Kwolek, Kwolek, Kwolek.
Kevlar.
She invented Kevlar.
Yeah. Obviously, everyone knows that.
Everybody knows she invented Kevlar. So back in 1964, with anticipation of the gasoline shortage, she worked for DuPont at this time. She was working on creating a lightweight yet strong tire.
Ooh.
And because they used a ton of oil in the production of tires, and out of this came a material that ended up becoming Kevlar.
So I'm going to admit something right now.
Shoot.
I was reading your screen and kind of assumed that Stephanie Kwolek's married name was Kevlar. And then as I said it, I was like, oh, no, that's not it.
Not all of us are as smart as I am. The next one is Maria Sklodowska, a.k.a. Marie Curie, radium, polonium, yada, 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 double Nobel Prize winner.
Listen to our whole episode on that,
episode
right?
on her. The next one we got is Jan.
Is it Jan or Jan?
It might be Jan. So I can't wait till we say these names this episode.
We
got Jan Joseph Ignay Lukaszczyk. He's a Polish pharmacist and petroleum engineer, and he's actually credited in 1958 with building the world's first oil refinery.
Oh,
how could the world exist without oil refineries? And then finally, there was a cat by the name of Stanislaw Ulam, and that is how you say Stanislaw.
It is, yeah.
Ulam, he was involved with the Manhattan Project. He was one of the lead...
Stan, he went by here.
I think he goes by Stan here.
Yeah.
But he was... So, I mean, there's 4 key people. So you got the atomic bomb, you got gas, you got polonium and radium, and then you got Kevlar. Poland is killing it when it comes to inventors.
Boy. Okay, well, we'll keep them on the list. How about that? They're not bounced out of the top 10 yet.
So
and
just for
they
the
are
record,
ahead of Sweden.
James is the one that determines the lists, and we always argue about this. I never get to really have any input.
Occasionally you get some input.
No, I don't.
Do you want to do another country, or shall I go?
I'll do another country.
Okay.
One that surprised me was the Netherlands.
Okay, let's hear it.
So,
I'm interested.
Like, when you think of the Dutch, you think of wooden shoes and, like, that general area of, Deutschland or what.
And that's on their list of inventions, I suppose.
It may be, but it's not. So, but crazy enough,
Flowers?
a country.
Don't they have tulips or
Tulips
something?
is their thing. It's a pretty small country, but Netherlands is pretty good. So a guy by the name of Christianen Hugelsen, or Huglens.
It's not just Christian?
There's an A. There's a double A and an N. I don't know. So this cat invented the pendulum clock and tons of other timekeeping devices. Cornelius Drebler, he built the first navigable submarine in 1620. Another cat from the Netherlands by the name Willem Einthoven.
Yeah,
he invented the first practical electrocardiogram and won a Nobel Peace Prize for it in 1924. And then
I don't think it was a Nobel Peace Prize.
Nobel for medicine. Nobel Prize for medicine. I'm so used to saying peace when you say Nobel.
That's what they always say too, right?
Nobel Prize for medicine. And then finally, Conrad Johannes von Hutten for, and my wife would love this one. This dude invented Dutch cocoa. Like the process of using alkali
points
salts
right there.
with cocoa to remove the bitter taste. And basically, when you hear Dutch cocoa, it's this cat in the Netherlands that did it.
Interesting. Well, that's something.
Netherlands is up there, brother.
Okay, if you say so. So, I know you like Canada, so I'm going to let you have that one.
Okay.
How about Japan? Were you big into Japan?
I got a couple, but you can go first.
I feel like Japan was near the bottom of my list.
It was way at the bottom.
I thought they'd be higher when I was initially ranking, but
I
no.
did too.
So we have, and these are really going to go well, Skachi Toyota, but different. Wooden weaving machine driven by human power. So a weaving machine. That's not real impressive.
So you said Toyota, so I just assumed you meant like the Toyota, the vehicle.
It's not Toyota.
Oh, duh, with a D.
Yeah. Photo electrographic method. There was a big old patent for that one. Not even going to try the name. But let me just list off some of the things that they said were big inventions for Japan. Just to give, and not really the inventors. Karaoke. Important to you? No. Quartz wristwatch. I think that's a little more interesting.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Pocket calculator. The video cassette, the camcorder, the high-speed passenger train is kind of influential there, right? The floppy disk, the compact disc, DVDs. So a lot of these things, being more modern. Yeah. But I think that kind of goes against them in our rankings because think of all these things that are now obsolete. They helped us progress, but now they're obsolete. The katana, does that help anything? Methamphetamines.
Ooh.
Some people might really be all about that.
Driving to Japan right now.
Right? LED lights.
So the dude at the LED light, his name was Shijuni Nakamura. He invented specifically the blue LED light, and he actually got a Nobel Peace Prize along with some other folks because I guess the blue light enables... it's like an energy saving. It doesn't require as much energy for the blue lights to work.
Right.
So back in, and this was just 2014. This is relatively recently. He got a Nobel Prize in physics for that.
I think that's why I knocked them down so much because things like that and carbon fiber, huge, but still, very modern.
I got one for you.
Go ahead.
Momofuku Ando.
Oh, yeah.
This cat...
Love this guy.
He made instant noodles, instant ramen, and cup of noodle.
Yeah, that's delicious.
You lived off of that stuff at one point in your life, and I think probably most people have.
I still have a little bit, yeah. That's a great hangover food. Not that I get hangovers, but if I did, that would be a good one to go to. So I think Japan's okay. They have a bunch more, but I think we hit all the important
We got to start
ones.
moving really fast because this is going to go
moving.
super slow. You can do another one.
Another one? How about Mother Russia?
They had a lot.
Vitaly Abalokov. Camming devices. Not like cameras, but like cams, like in machinery.
Oh, yeah. Like
gotcha.
The oblong.
The oblong
the lobes.
things, yes. Anatoly Alexandrov. Naval nuclear reactors. A lot of theirs are kind of military focused.
Well.
Nikolai Bosov co-invented the laser. That's pretty impressive. Vladimir Chalomy, first space station and proton rockets. Ivan Elmanoy, first monorail. Waldemar, here's at Valdemar. Hafkin, the first vaccines against cholera and bubonic plague.
Those are pretty bad.
Yeah. Do you have any other guys
I do.
you want to mention?
You have to mention our boy Igor,
Igor.
Shawartsky.
Yeah.
It's the helicopter company. They're still around today.
Skarovsky.
He basically invented the very first helicopter back in 1939, and up to 95% of all helicopter design today is based off of his original design. Alexander Popov, he is credited with the radio, even though he kind of he kind of missed an announcement and didn't get a lot of credit for it. And then the coolest one that I thought, there were two people. This cat by the name of Dmitry Zegarovsky, Caterpillar tracks, so tank tracks. Listed, yeah. So this is in 1839, but unfortunately, it didn't catch on, and I had this bolded for a reason. A Russian peasant, self-taught inventor, Fyodor Blanovo. I mean, who could you imagine that's on your business card? Russian peasant,
Blinov,
self-taught inventor, Blinov. Yeah. He actually kind of took his unfinished work and he actually implemented it on tanks.
It's like us, but different.
Yeah.
There were a few other things I had there. Let's see, synthetic rubber, grain harvesting, the backpack parachute. That's kind of cool. Mortar, torpedoes, narcosis, electric light bulb, or an electric bulb. And let's see, the passenger jet.
Okay.
Oh, and the one I liked a lot, underwater welding, because we talked a little bit about that in our welding episode. Russia came up with that. So good for them. So before we move on, let's first kind of rank this. I feel like Russia's leading right now.
Oh, easily.
Would you say Poland next, followed by Japan?
So far, yeah.
And then Sweden
I would say that.
Coming in lastish? Okay, very good. All right, so before we move on, let's take a break for a word from our sponsors.
I'm assuming it's Tourism Netherlands.
It might be, but no,
okay.
It is not. We actually don't have any sponsor this week, nor do we have any shout-outs, which is a little hurtful, but that's okay.
Wow.
We're going to use this time to let everyone know that if you write in at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com, we will write back to you and send you some stickers.
I feel like our listeners are the worst right now.
Well, I wanted to actually save a little time here to announce that Unprofessional Engineering was named to the top 15, actually coming in number 5 for the top 15 STEM podcasts out there.
How awesome is that?
Right? Yeah, I thought that was
That's amazing.
So that was very nice to see. Head over to our Facebook page or unprofessionalengineering.com and you can check out the list of the top STEM podcasts, and you can see our little ribbon that we won because we're pretty big deal.
I mean, it's our mission statement. It's in our mission statement.
It is.
Educate something. I was hoping for a little assist there, but
sorry about that.
Yeah,
all right. Also, go on and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen. Write reviews. Clearly, we're one of the best out there, so give us 5 stars. Okay, moving on. What country do you want to do next?
I want to do France because I think France had quite a few. So
they're actually next on my list too.
Okay, so we got René Linacre, the stethoscope. This was one that's kind of surprised me. So back in 1816, he invented the stethoscope, which is used by literally every single doctor and little girl out there checking the heartbeat of their baby doll. So should we show those pictures of the little girls?
Boys do that too.
Well, they do sometimes. Next one I got is Andre, and we talked about this guy, I think, during our toy episode, Andre Casaganes. This cat invented the Etch-a-Sketch, which
we did talk about
which
him.
Basically scrapes off aluminum powder on the inside surface of a glass screen.
I feel like you're struggling, though. If we're naming the best countries for inventors and we're going with the Etch-a-Sketch?
I love the Etch-a-Sketch. Bernard Lassamoni, the pencil sharpener, 1828. Louis Pasteur. How can we forget about our boy Louis, right?
That's true.
Back in 1864,
this is a big one.
He invented pasteurization. Basically, people were dying from drinking old milk, or they couldn't keep milk that long. So he invented, obviously, the pasteurization process. And then finally, this has got to be the biggest. of all of these, in my opinion. And this isn't a single person. This is the Academy of Science of Paris. They were tasked with devising the metric system. It was passed into law by the French in 1793 and has since been adopted by every country in the world except for Samoa and the United States, I believe.
Okay. Well, I have a few more to add on to the list. It's not as good as the Etch-a-Sketch. Hercule Romuald Florence, a French-Brazilian painter and inventor who is credited with the negative positive. So that's kind of interesting.
I don't know what that means, negative positive.
Think about photography.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. How about, this is a good one. Nicolas Joseph Cugnot, who is another inventor and built the first working self-propelled mechanical vehicle. So the world's first automobile.
That's kind of cool.
That's pretty impressive right there. We have Rudolf Christian Karl Diesel, who came up with the diesel engine. And we also have a pretty interesting one, Louis Braille, who was blinded as a child by an accident and came up with...
Braille.
There you go. See? I got the assist from you.
I like that.
Yeah, I think France did pretty well. They came up with, like you said, pasteurization, canning, the aqualung, hot air balloons.
Tons.
Gross mayonnaise, the Etch-a-Sketch.
You don't like mayonnaise?
No, I hate mayonnaise.
Oh,
All sorts of good
mayonnaise.
stuff. All right, moving on. Next, I'm listing Scotland.
Scotland wasn't even on my radar.
Now, Scotland is huge in the inventing game, and that's not just counting them as part of the UK. So,
Okay.
on their own, we have William Cullen, physicist and chemist, did the first artificial refrigeration. That's pretty impressive. James Watt. You know James Watt, right? We mentioned him before.
He's the guy that invented the ohm.
Inventor of the steam engine, suitable for use in trains. And yes, he invented the ohm as well. Kirkpatrick Macmillan, I like his name if nothing else. He made the pedal bicycle, so that's pretty
That's a good
okay.
one.
James Clerk Maxwell, he was a physicist and inventor. He was produced color photography, which is pretty impressive, right? He's considered one of the greatest physicists of the millennium. Alexander Graham Bell. We've done a whole episode on this
good old
guy.
Belly,
Good
that's
old Belly.
right.
Scottish scientist credited with inventing the first practical telephone. And then he also worked on optical telecommunications. If you remember at the end of our episode, go check it out if you haven't listened. And he did a lot in aeronautics and hydrofoils. And I think he also saved National Geographic, if I remember correctly. That was very interesting. So big shout out there. Alexander Fleming. Fleming discovered the antibiotic penicillin by accidentally, finding some mold and being like, whoa, that was pretty good for us. And John Logie Baird, Scottish inventor who invented the television and first recording device.
Interesting.
I feel like that's pretty strong for being tiny little Scotland.
Not bad.
And eating haggis. Yeah. Okay, moving on.
So I have to go with... Let's go with Germany. I mean, how can you not talk about Germany when you talk about inventors? So right off the bat, the one and only Albert Einstein, Albie, as we so lovingly call him, developed the theory of relativity, which is one of the two main pillars in physics. Johannes Gutenberg, Steve Gutenberg's great-great-great-grandfather. This guy invented movable type. We talked about this in one of our previous episodes about printing, I believe. I don't remember the name of the episode, but widely regarded as one of the most important event that has ever happened. So James Gutenberg, good on you for
That is pretty good.
having a great-great-grandfather that did that.
We did an episode on him, you're right.
Fernando Porsche, obviously. The
that's
Porsche.
something, yeah.
He's best known, obviously, for Porsche, but also creating the first gasoline hybrid engine and the Volkswagen Beetle, which is crazy. Rudolf Diesel. This is where we got a little discrepancy. So I got Rudolf Diesel as a
misspoke.
German.
You're right.
Okay.
I think he spent some time down in Frenchy land, but he was definitely German.
Yeah, so Rudolf Diesel, obviously the German cat.
Diesel engine, yeah.
And then finally, this one I love, Henry John Heinz.
Ooh, how about
He
that?
invented ketchup, basically.
Now, this is the perfect example of German, but American.
But
right?
American, yeah. So everything he did happened here. So Henry John Heinz obviously was an American. He wasn't more of he was probably less of an inventor, but more of a businessman. But when I saw his name, it was like, come on,
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
gotta give
And
him
if
a
you ever
shout-out.
use Hunt's ketchup or Chef Choice, you can unsubscribe right now.
That's reasonable. I don't want
Totally
to ever
reasonable.
encourage unsubscribing, but that is, I mean, if I could, I'd unsubscribe you. So,
Yes.
yeah, that's fair. A few others that I had listed. Carl Benz, did you mention that one?
Yeah, a lot of car stuff with these
okay.
guys.
You did mention
I
that?
didn't mention them, but
Oh,
yeah.
so by you meant no?
No, sorry.
Okay, so I guess we can figure that
Yeah.
who that was. Carl Bosch was chemist and engineer, Nobel laureate for chemistry, and he was all known for synthesizing ammonia, hydrogen, and nitrogen.
And I have to assume that Bosch is his company. Like
I would assume.
yeah, and like Daimler is Daimler Chrysler. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. They also made toothpaste, X-ray technology they worked on, the nylon plug. Apparently that's cool. Nuclear fission. That's kind of a big deal. And personally, my favorite, the gummy bear.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Haribo. I love gummy bears.
Gosh, me too. Okay, moving on. I'm going to go with China.
I couldn't find anything on
I
China.
put China on the list just thinking everything would happen there because, they've been around forever.
And there's a lot of people there too.
Yeah. So Kai Lun, the Chinese inventor of paper, that's kind of a big thing. So sheets of fiber suspended in water before drying. So made paper and the paper making process to some extent. We also had Su Song, who was a mathematician and all sorts of other stuff. But this is kind of crazy. This was forever ago. And it is considered the engineer of hydromechanical astronomical clock tower. So basically using all of this technology to do crazy things ahead of his time. But I wanted to list some of their inventions because they are a big deal.
Yeah, they're a big deal, but they don't necessarily know who did it just because they've been
so
around for billions and billions of years.
Paper, movable type printing, which we talk about in the printing press episode, gunpowder, compass, alcohol, mechanical clock, tea, silk, umbrellas, acupuncture, iron smelting is huge, paper money, dominoes is listed. That's not real impressive. Row crop farming, very big. The seed drill, exploding cannons, fireworks, rocketry, and there's something else. But before I mention it, I want to take a break for this week's Luke's Rant.
So I always try to find a rant that's relatively related. This is one of those situations where I had no chance of doing that. So this rant is, and you and I are involved in social media quite a bit. We have an amazing podcast with lots and lots of listeners, and we try to be as truthful as we can whenever we communicate with our audience. The thing that drives me crazy is the internet.
The internet, yeah, it's pretty bad.
And the conflicting research that happens on the internet. So I've been looking into doing some paint correction on my truck. You know that I have a truck. We talk about it in a few episodes here and there. And literally, you could spend weeks researching. Like, you find a product you think you're like, oh yeah, here's this thing that's gonna fix my paint and do all this crazy stuff, and then you find like things that say it's the worst thing ever, don't buy it. And
it's not fair. It's like it's opinions or something.
Yeah, and I hate opinions. Like, just do what I say and listen to us.
Agreed.
Right? I mean, so it's super, super difficult, and I can't imagine growing up like you and I grew up in an age where if you needed to learn something, you went up to your parents' encyclopedia, you opened it up, and you found there's an answer black and white. But nowadays,
I just didn't learn it.
Or that. You could go that route too. But it's just, I can't imagine being a kid nowadays, how confusing it must be to just find so much conflicting information on what should be topics that are clearly black and white topics. And it's
internet, get your game together.
Yeah, and again, I get, there is a lot of opinion out there, but I just find it very frustrating that I did like hours of research to realize that, oh, this isn't what I want to do because all these people get paid for this, or I'm sorry.
I feel your pain. Especially with our researching we do for this.
Yeah, and because we do a ton of research. We always get conflicting stuff all the time. So,
all right. How about we move on? I think we're getting into the real meat of the good countries now.
I think we are too,
Okay,
brother.
who do you got?
So, Croatia. You know me.
Wah, wah. Now, Croatia's only been around for like a day and a half, so I'm really waiting for
this. But
this.
I'm counting the region that was previous Croatia.
Sure.
As you can see by over my shoulder, if you're watching the video, which no one ever does. So go to YouTube and watch our videos.
Yeah, or not.
So Croatia Here's what I got for Croatia. Faust Vrakovic, the parachute. You had the parachute listed as someone else. This was the
That was
first.
the backpack parachute.
Okay, this was the
different.
first person to stretch fabric over a wooden frame
This one
and
was
parachute.
actually the one I mentioned was useful. Then there was this.
This is not.
Yeah.
So he basically jumped off of some building in Venice in 1617. The next one is Ivan Blatz, Lupus.
See, and again, I said this is Russia, and you're saying Croatia.
Yeah,
this
this
there's
cat,
a little overlap.
Yeah,
there.
this cat built a prototype torpedo for basically naval warfare back in 1861. Joseph Belujic, the electric speedometer.
See, Joe is where I quit. When I was like, you're naming the electric speedometer as one of your big inventions, I'm not bothering.
I listed ramen, and you were okay with ramen.
Yeah, it's delicious.
And the last one is Ivan Devetic. And I feel so bad because I'm Croatian and I can't pronounce these names. And this cat invented something called dactyloscopy. So this is basically classifications for patterns of fingerprints.
Okay.
So this is back in 1891.
And you didn't even say your boy, the Croatian sensation, because
he wasn't
American.
necessary. Yeah.
All right, moving on. My next one I'm listing, Italy.
Oh, I had a couple of.
Italy's pretty solid.
I had a couple. Of
Leonardo da Vinci. We have a whole episode on Da Vinci with the parachutes and the tanks and the flying machines and the bridges.
But did he actually invent anything, or is it just a bunch of cool pictures?
That's
Just
pretty much
saying.
what it came down to. You're right. The theory was sound, though. Galileo. We still haven't done an episode on Galileo.
Giletto, as I call him.
Yes,
Yep.
as you call him. Powerful telescopes, revolutionary theories about nature were confirmed, also improved the compass. Volta, Alessandro Volta, a physicist. Ooh, this is a neat one. Invented the first electrochemical battery cell.
How cool is that?
Yeah, that's very cool.
Wouldn't have
let's
electric
see.
cars today if it wasn't for that guy.
That's right. We mentioned Enrico Fermi before, since we talked about the Manhattan Project earlier. This is also someone very influential in that, talking to the president, saying, "Yo, we got to make a bomb fast." We also have who else do we have? Antonio Musio. I'm actually skipping some of them just because I can't say their names even partially correctly, so that's okay. Found a way of linking a form of voice communication between different rooms in his New York home. Sounds strikingly familiar to a telephone, right? Well,
Strikingly.
if you listen to our Alexander Graham Bell episode, you'll find out that he put forward a patent caveat in the U.S. patent, but didn't mention electromagnetic communication and basically lost out on the patent. So he might have done it before old Belly did, but doesn't get any credit. Sorry about your luck.
I got a couple of Italians.
Yes, hear it. I think it's pronounced Italians.
Bartolomeo Cristofio. This is terrible. I'm sorry. The piano. We wouldn't
piano's a big
have.
one,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a big one. And then this one I cannot believe you didn't get. Candato Jacuzzi.
Ooh.
This guy invented the jacuzzi whirlpool.
Along with Enzo?
No.
Oh.
Enzo, I think was the name of his son. Or I don't. Maybe I cut and paste that incorrectly, so sorry for the crack research. But basically, he invented this because he had a son that was born with rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh.
And so jacuzzis were initially meant to be like this kind of medical device to help treat, rheumatoid arthritis, and it's turned into this kind of, weirdly bizarre sit in your backyard.
All right, let's move on for some of these other countries as things get creepier. Who do you got next?
Do we want to save this one for last?
You can if you want.
Okay, then I'm pretty much. I got.
All right.
I think I'm done at that
Really?
point.
How about Greece?
Nope.
You don't have Greece?
Nope.
Archimedes. Really?
What do you do?
Archimedes? He calculated pi.
How's
pretty
that
big.
beneficial to us?
Developed the Archimedes screw for lifting up water from mines and wells.
Yeah, I got to go turn my Archimedes screw to go get some water.
But wow, okay. Hero of Alexandria. I just like the name. Let's see here. Experimenter of antiquity, represented scientific tradition. Okay, not so great. Let's see. They also invented the alphabet, the anchor, the alarm clock. Democracy. Are you down in democracy?
All things we could have lived
Coin
without.
money, central heating, the catapult, cartography,
All things we could have lived without.
geography.
Yep.
Okay, so not Greece. Okay. How about England?
See, I didn't know
did
how
you
to.
not do
I didn't know
England?
how to classify England.
England's actually what I would call number one.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that. Sir Isaac Newton. You know Sir Isaac Newton? Did he
Yep.
do anything for us?
He didn't he throw an apple or something like that?
He threw an apple at himself and got famous. Thomas Savery patented one of the first steam engines. Another Tommy, Thomas Newcomb. First practical steam engine for pumping water from mines. So we kind of talked about mines back in Greece and getting water. They found a new, better way of doing it. Let's see here. Abram Darby. Let's see. Pig iron from coke. That's pretty good. Coke smelted iron was
decent.
crucial raw material. John Harrison was a carpenter and clockmaker. He made devices for measuring longitude at sea. Kind of important for founding America, right? Let's see. It's just endless. Michael Faraday. What did he do?
Made a Faraday device.
Okay, we'll go with that. James Dyson. We have a whole episode on James Dyson. So they don't just do historic things.
Yeah, he makes expensive vacuums.
And pioneers AI research in England.
Okay, we have to get to the elephant in the room before we run out of time, and then we're gonna do it. So I got us. So my number one has got to be America.
Okay.
So first one I got is Eli Whitney, the cotton gin. So this basically revolutionized how people get cotton for making everything that every person on the face of the earth wears.
Yeah.
Jonas Salk, this cat invented polio in Pittsburgh.
He invented polio?
No, the vaccine. Sorry, he
goodness.
invented the vaccine for
In
polio
Pittsburgh.
at the University of Pittsburgh in 1947,
Wow.
and he tested on himself, his wife, and his kids. After that, which is terrible, I think. And he was such a good guy, he didn't patent it because he wanted to give it to people for free.
Wow.
Charles Goodyear invented vulcanization in rubber, so back in 1844. And finally, Willis Carrier invented air conditioning in 1915.
Samuel Morse, Morse code. Nikola Tesla, did an episode on him. Thomas Edison. Benjamin Franklin. I feel like the Wright brothers. I feel like when you don't even need to go into what they invented, they're pretty solid.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer. Back to the atomic bomb again. You said George Washington Carver, Eli Whitney, Henry Ford. Now that I mention them, maybe we are better.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with maybe we are.
Sorry,
better.
rest of the world. So I think we have to say that the United States.
Can we go U.S. 1, England 2? Is that fair?
I didn't even put England on my list, but I'll go with that.
I mean, they're
As long
pretty
as you
influential.
make Croatia number 3.
No, Croatia's not number 3.
We have. I think we have to do.
Italy?
I think we have to do Russia.
Is number 3?
Is number 3 in my opinion.
Oh my goodness. Okay, number 3. Can Italy be 4?
I think Italy could be 4. Germany's got to be up there.
Germany 5.
France 6.
France 6. Greece, can they be 7?
I think so.
With all the history they have there. And now we have to figure out China, Poland, Scotland, Japan, Croatia, Sweden.
Croatia has to be in
10. They can be 10.
Okay, I think Poland. Marie Curie. Come on.
Poland can be 9 and China can be 8.
Yep.
All
so
right.
what do we got?
Sorry, Scotland. You get lumped in with England once again. Japan. Sorry about ramen.
Yep.
And Sweden, you're off. Number 1, America. Number 2, England. Number 3, Mother Russia. Number 4, that's what you have to say.
Yes.
Number 4, Italy. 5, Germany. 6, France. 7, Greece. 8, China. 9, Poland. 10, Croatia.
Nice.
I like it. I think
Croatia
that's a solid
rounding out the top 10.
Represent.
This was fun.
It was fun.
I learned about a lot of inventors that I never knew of before.
I felt like there's a whole lot of episodes of great inventors that could come from this list, right?
Easily.
I feel like this should have been an hour spectacular. It was so much information. But too bad for everyone. They only got a half-hour bus. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have opinions different than ours, we've already covered that we don't care about opinions. But feel free to tell us anyways. Until next time.
See ya.